I used to think my mom was the safest person in the world. It's almost funny, thinking about that now. How stupidly sure I was, sitting at the kitchen table after school, watching her hum under her breath while she made dinner. Little things, the way she always remembered how I liked my sandwich cut, how she never missed a single game, they built this whole mythology in my head. Like she wasn't even capable of hurting anybody. I don't know exactly when it started. I just know that one day, I looked up, and she was gone. She was still there physically, sure. Same bright eyes, same nervous laugh. But it was like someone had hollowed her out and was wearing her like a costume. She'd stare past me at dinner, fork pushing food around on her plate like she forgot she was supposed to eat it. Her phone, God, her phone, was practically glued to her hand. I asked once, trying to keep it casual, "Everything good, Mom?" She jumped like I'd shot her. Said she was just tired from work. Smiled way too hard. I wanted to believe her. I really did. But it stuck in my chest like a splinter. The weirdness kept stacking up. Late nights out for errands. New clothes I didn't recognize, heels she never used to wear, tight jeans she would have made fun of 2 years ago. She started wearing makeup just to grab groceries. And she smelled different too. Not the warm, soft smell I grew up with. This was sharp, floral, foreign. Dad didn't seem to notice. Or maybe he didn't want to. I'd sit in the living room, pretending to watch TV, and hear them move around each other in the kitchen like strangers. No fighting, no screaming. Just silence. Like the house itself was holding its breath. One night, I heard the front door click open past midnight. I peeked through the blinds just in time to catch her slipping inside, her face flushed, hair messy. She froze when she saw me standing there. "Hey, honey," she said, voice too bright. "I just ran into Karen at the store. We grabbed coffee, lost track of time." Karen, her old friend from church. The one who moved to Oregon last year. I didn't say anything. Just nodded and went upstairs, every step heavier than the last. I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to believe her so bad. But the seed was planted. And it grew. After that night, everything shifted. It was small at first. Blink and you miss it stuff. A wrong laugh at the wrong moment. A weird stiffness when Dad hugged her goodbye in the morning. She started cooking less, claiming she was too tired. Takeout boxes piled up in the kitchen. She forgot my birthday dinner until Dad reminded her the night before. "We'll do something special this weekend," she promised, reaching out to squeeze my hand. Her palm was cold. I pulled away before I could think better of it. I told myself I was being dramatic. Paranoid. I told myself families just changed sometimes. But then I saw the text. It was a Sunday morning. She was folding laundry on the couch, phone tucked between her thigh and a stack of towels. I walked past to grab a soda, and the screen lit up when a new message came in. "Can't stop thinking about Friday. You looked incredible. Counting down already. No contact name. Just a number." I froze mid-step, throat closing up. She snatched the phone up so fast she nearly knocked over the coffee table. "Work thing," she said, not looking at me. "Scheduling a meeting next week." "Yeah. Sure." Real professional tone. My hands shook so bad I nearly dropped the soda can. I chugged it in 2 gulps, just to have something to do. Some way to shove the screaming voice in my head back down where it belonged. It didn't work. That night, lying in bed, I stared at the ceiling so long the room started to blur. The text replayed over and over behind my eyes. "Can't stop thinking about Friday. You looked incredible. Counting down already." I didn't know who he was. I didn't know what he looked like, how old he was, if he knew she had a family. All I knew was that my mom, wasn't the person I thought she was. The worst part was how good she was at pretending. How normal she acted, tossing me a set of movie tickets she won on the radio, telling me to take my girlfriend out. How she laughed at some stupid meme I showed her at dinner like nothing inside her had changed. It made me sick. It made me wonder how many other things I missed. How many other lies she smiled through. 3 days later, I got my answer. I wasn't planning to follow her. I swear to God, I wasn't. But that Wednesday afternoon, I got home early from work and found her standing in front of the mirror in her bedroom. She didn't see me. The door was cracked just enough for me to watch her reapply lipstick, fluff her hair, check her phone again and again like she was waiting on something. She wasn't dressed for grocery shopping. She wasn't dressed for book club. She was dressed like a woman going to meet someone who made her heart race. I felt something dark coil in my chest. Hot, black, ugly. My hands curled into fists against the doorframe. When she finally grabbed her purse and headed out, I waited 2 minutes. Then I slipped on my jacket, grabbed my keys, and followed. My heart hammered so hard I could hear it in my ears. Every light felt like it took hours to change. Every turn she took made me sweat harder. I kept 2 cars behind her the whole way, chewing the inside of my cheek raw. She wasn't heading downtown. She wasn't heading to the mall or the library. She pulled into the parking lot of a grocery store across town. Not our usual one. One I'd never even been to before. I parked on the far side of the lot, engine idling, watching from behind my windshield. It was late afternoon. Sun slanting low. Shoppers pushing carts, wheels rattling over cracked pavement. Normal. Innocent. And then he showed up. Some guy in jeans and a black jacket, a little older than her, salt and pepper hair. He didn't hesitate. Just walked right up, grabbed her around the waist, and kissed her like he owned her. She didn't even look around first. She didn't check to see if anyone was watching. She melted into him, smiling against his mouth like a teenager sneaking out after curfew. I sat there, breathing in broken gasps, while the whole world tilted sideways. Mom didn't bother hiding it. She kissed her boyfriend in the grocery store parking lot like getting caught would just add extra thrill to her afternoon. I gripped the steering wheel so hard my knuckles went white. I wanted to honk. I wanted to scream. I wanted to jump out of the car and tear them apart. But I didn't move. I just sat there and watched the woman who raised me, the woman I trusted more than anyone, turn herself into a stranger in real time. When they finally broke apart, she tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, laughing softly. He said something that made her sweat his chest, playful, familiar. They walked inside together without a second glance. My stomach twisted so hard I thought I was going to puke. I barely remember putting the car in gear. I drove home on autopilot, the grocery store shrinking in the rearview mirror until it was just a blur of cement and betrayal. I don't remember getting home. 1 second I was gripping the wheel so hard my fingers ached, the next I was pulling into our driveway like it was any normal day, like my whole world hadn't just caved in somewhere between the frozen foods section and the goddamn produce aisle. I sat in the car for a long time, engine ticking as it cooled. My hands felt foreign. My whole body did. Like I wasn't wearing it right anymore. I tried to breathe. Tried to think. Tried to come up with any excuse, any explanation that made sense. But there was nothing. No way to twist what I'd seen. No way to unsee it. Mom was cheating. Not, might be. Not, probably. She was. And she didn't even look guilty about it. She kissed him like she meant it. Like he was the one waiting for her at home. Like Dad, like me, were just leftovers she scraped off her shoe on her way to something better. I finally forced myself out of the car. My legs felt shaky, like they didn't belong to me anymore. I stumbled inside, half hoping no one would be home. Half hoping I could just crawl into bed and pretend the last hour hadn't happened. The house was quiet. Dad's car was gone, probably still at work, and Mom's spot was empty too. She was still with him. Still pretending she was running errands. Still lying to our faces without breaking a sweat. I dropped onto the couch and stared at the blank TV screen, heart hammering in my throat. The thing is, I wasn't even sure what hurt more. The cheating, the lies, or the cold, casual way she did it, like it wasn't even worth feeling bad about. I thought about telling Dad. Thought about picking up my phone, snapping a picture of them, sending it to him with a 2-line message that would blow everything sky high. But I didn't. I couldn't. Not yet. Some ugly, cowardly part of me wasn't ready to be the bomb that blew up our whole family. Not even after everything. Not even after that. She got home 2 hours later. I heard the door open, heard her keys drop into the bowl by the door like always. She hummed a little under her breath as she kicked off her shoes, some stupid pop song that made my skin crawl. I sat there, rigid, as she breezed into the living room, shopping bags swinging from her arms. "Hey, hon," she chirped, like she hadn't just committed emotional arson in broad daylight. "I grabbed your favorite cereal. They were having a sale." She smiled at me. The same warm, soft smile she used when I was 5 years old and scraped my knee. It made me want to scream. "Thanks," I managed, voice rougher than I meant. If she noticed, she didn't show it. She set the bags down, rummaged through them, pulled out a box of Reese's Puffs and tossed it to me like a peace offering. I caught it out of instinct. "You okay?" she asked, tilting her head. You look pale. I wanted to say. I saw you. I know. How could you do this to us? Instead, I said, just tired. Her face softened. She crossed the room and pressed the back of her hand to my forehead like she was checking for a fever. You've been working so hard lately, she said, brushing my hair off my forehead. Maybe you're coming down with something. Her hand lingered for a second longer than it needed to. I sat there, letting her touch me, feeling like my skin was about to peel off my bones. How could she stand there and pretend to care? How could she fake it so perfectly? Or maybe the scary part wasn't that she was faking it. Maybe the scary part was that she still did care, in her own twisted way. Loved us. Loved Dad. And still decided to cheat anyway. That broke something deeper than anger. Something I didn't even have words for yet. Dinner was hell. Dad got home just after 6, whistling some stupid tune under his breath, carrying a six-pack in one hand. Mom met him at the door with a kiss on the cheek, laughing at something he said about work. I sat at the table, stabbing my pasta like it had personally wronged me. Long day? Dad asked, sliding into the chair across from me. Yeah, I muttered. Mom ladled out spaghetti like she hadn't spent her afternoon wrapped around some other guy. She joked about a coworker's disaster haircut, told Dad about some weird lady at the store who held up the checkout line arguing about coupons. I watched her hands move, watched the way her wedding ring caught the light, wondered if she took it off when she was with him. Probably. She was smart enough for that. Smart enough to hide a whole second life right under our noses. I barely touched my food. My stomach was too twisted up. Eat, sweetheart, Mom said, nudging my plate toward me. I forced a few bites down just to get her off my back. Dad launched into some story about a coworker breaking his arm at a soccer game. Mom laughed at all the right spots. Asked all the right questions. I wanted to shout. She's lying. She's cheating. Look at her, Dad. Really look at her. But the words stuck in my throat like broken glass. Instead, I smiled when I was supposed to. Nodded when I had to. Played my part. Just like she was playing hers. That night, lying in bed, the house silent around me, I stared at the ceiling and tried to piece together what the hell I was supposed to do. If I told Dad, it would destroy him. He wasn't perfect, nobody was, but he loved her. You could see it in a million tiny ways. The way he kept a spare sweater of hers in the back of his car in case she got cold. The way he always saved her the last slice of pie. The way he never complained when she wanted to drag him to some dumb farmer's market or pottery class or whatever. He didn't deserve this. Neither did I. Neither of us deserved to be the consolation prize while she got her thrills behind our backs. The anger built up so sharp and fast that I had to sit up, fists buried in my blankets, breathing hard just to keep from punching the wall. I couldn't live like this. Couldn't eat her meals, laugh at her jokes, pretend everything was fine while she lived this whole other life. Something had to give. And it was going to give soon. I just didn't know yet if I'd survive what came after. The next morning, I woke up with a decision burning in my gut. I wasn't going to sit there and rot in my own silence. I wasn't going to pretend I didn't know who she was now. If she could lie to my face, then I could look her in the eye and call her out for what she was. I didn't even eat breakfast. Just sat at the kitchen table, bouncing my knee, staring at the clock until she finally came downstairs. She looked normal. Hair in a messy bun, wearing one of Dad's old t-shirts, humming under her breath as she dug around in the fridge for creamer. Morning, sweetheart, she said, without even glancing at me. The rage flared so hot and fast that my hands trembled against the table. I forced the words out before I could back down. Who is he? Her hand froze on the fridge door. For a second, she didn't move. Didn't breathe. Then she shut the door slowly and turned to face me, mug cradled against her chest like a shield. What are you talking about? She asked, way too light, way too fake. I stood up so fast my chair scraped backward across the tile. Don't, I said, voice shaking. Don't stand there and lie to me. She blinked, confused. Hurt. Academy Award performance. Honey, I don't know what you think you saw. I saw you, I snapped, louder than I meant to. At the grocery store. With him. The color drained from her face so fast it made my stomach flip. There it was. The truth cracking through her mask. You followed me, she whispered, voice breaking. Like that was the betrayal here. Yeah, I said, laughing bitterly. Funny how you're more pissed about that than what you were doing. She set the mug down with a clatter, hands shaking now too. It's not what you think, she said, fast, desperate. It's complicated. I'm not stupid. I said. You kissed him, Mom. You kissed him like you were proud of it. She opened her mouth, closed it again, shoulders slumping like I'd physically hit her. Please, she said, voice cracking. Let's talk about this. Not like this. How then? I demanded. Over dinner. During family movie night. You want to schedule it between your dates. Tears welled up in her eyes, but it didn't move me. Not anymore. Does Dad know? I asked, quieter now. A whisper edged with knives. She squeezed her eyes shut, a tear slipping down her cheek. No, she choked out. Please. Please don't tell him. My fists clenched so hard my nails bit into my palms. Why not? I asked, my voice barely recognizable to myself. Because you want to keep playing house. Keep lying to him until you get bored again. It's not like that, she whispered. Then what is it like? I snapped. Explain it to me. Make it make sense. She sank into a chair like her legs gave out, covering her face with her hands. I don't know, she said, muffled. I didn't mean for it to happen. I laughed again, short and sharp. You tripped and fell onto his mouth, huh? She flinched like I'd slapped her. Good. Let her hurt for once. Let her sit in it. How long? I asked after a long moment. She didn't answer. How long? I shouted, slamming my hand down on the table. She jumped, sobbing now, real ugly sobs that I used to think only happened in movies. Almost a year, she whispered. The room tilted. I gripped the back of the chair to stay upright. A year. A whole goddamn year of family dinners, movie nights, vacations. A year of her smiling across the table while lying straight to our faces. A year of watching Dad kiss her goodnight while she counted down the days until her next rendezvous. I thought I might be sick. Who is he? I forced out. Someone you work with? She shook her head miserably. No. I met him at the gym. He's divorced. It just started with coffee, and then. She trailed off, like finishing the sentence might kill her. I wished it would. I really did. I turned away before I did something I couldn't take back. I'm telling Dad, I said, voice flat. Please, she gasped, standing up so fast her chair tipped over. Please, don't. Let me fix this. Let me end it first. Let me. You don't get to fix it, I said without turning around. You broke it. You don't get to pretend you didn't. Her footsteps padded after me as I stormed upstairs, slamming my door so hard the frame rattled. I collapsed onto my bed, breathing like I'd just run a marathon, hands tearing at the sheets just to anchor myself to something real. I didn't cry. I couldn't. I was too hollow for tears. The next 2 days were a nightmare. Mom tried to act normal, packing lunches, asking about my day, but it was all wrong. She was a ghost in our house. A puppet mimicking a mother. Every word she said made my skin crawl. Dad didn't notice. Of course he didn't. Why would he suspect the woman he loved more than life itself was gutting him behind his back? I didn't tell him right away. Not because I wanted to protect her. Because I needed time to figure out how to say it without shattering him completely. Because once the words were out, there was no undoing them. No going back. No family dinners. No vacations. No birthdays. Just wreckage. I finally told him on a Friday night. Mom was at yoga. I sat him down in the living room, heart slamming against my ribs so hard it hurt. He smiled at me, a little confused, sipping his beer. What's up, bud? It broke me. It absolutely broke me. Dad, I said, voice trembling, I'm so sorry. I didn't want to be the one to tell you. But you have to know. He set the beer down slowly. Straightened up. Know what? I stared at the floor. Mom's cheating, I said, barely a whisper. Silence. I forced myself to look up. His face was blank. Not angry. Not sad. Just blank. What? He said. I saw her, I said, words tumbling out now. At the grocery store. With him. Kissing him. He didn't move for a long time. Just sat there, breathing slowly, like he was trying not to pass out. You're sure, he said finally. It wasn't even a question. He knew. Deep down, some part of him had always known. Yeah, I said, voice cracking. I'm sure. He closed his eyes. Pressed his fingers to them like he could block it all out if he just tried hard enough. When he opened them again, he looked older. Like someone had fast-forwarded him 20 years in 30 seconds. Thank you for telling me, he said quietly. You didn't deserve to carry that. I nodded, throat too tight to speak. We sat there in silence, two broken men in a house built on lies. Dad didn't confront her that night. He didn't rage, didn't scream, didn't even cry. He just went upstairs, took a long shower, and came back down wearing the same hollow look he had when I told him. I heard the soft squeak of suitcase wheels against the floorboards an hour later. Watched from the hallway as he packed a bag, methodical and slow, like a man pulling his own heart out piece by piece. Mom got home around 9. She barely had time to set her keys down before he met her in the foyer, voice low and shaking. "We need to talk," he said. I didn't hear the rest. Didn't need to. Her gasp. His dead calm tone. The small, broken noise she made when he told her he knew. It told me everything. I stayed upstairs, curled up on my bed, listening to my family fall apart in real time. No shouting. No plate smashing. Just quiet, brutal collapse. When I finally came down hours later, her car was gone. Dad was sitting at the kitchen table, staring at nothing, a half-empty bottle of whiskey in front of him. He didn't say anything when I sat down across from him. Just pushed a glass toward me with a shaky hand. I didn't touch it. I just sat there with him until the sun came up. Two statues in a dying house. The divorce moved faster than I thought it would. Dad didn't fight her. Didn't plead. Didn't ask why. He just let her go. She tried to reach out to me a few times. Texts. Calls. Emails. At first, they were desperate. "Please, talk to me. I miss you so much. This isn't who I am." Later, they got bitter. "I'm still your mother, whether you like it or not. You're choosing sides in something you don't understand. You'll regret shutting me out someday." I never answered. Maybe that makes me a bad son. I don't know. I just know that every time I thought about forgiving her, I remembered the look on Dad's face that night. The way his hands shook. The way his whole world collapsed without a single scream. I couldn't forget that. Still can't. It's been a year now. Dad's doing better. Not great, I don't think you ever come back from that kind of betrayal, but better. He started fishing again. Took a road trip to Colorado. He even laughed last week when I showed him a stupid meme, a real laugh that didn't sound like it hurt him to let it out. Me? I'm getting there. Slowly. The anger isn't white hot anymore. Now it's just ash. I moved out last month. Got a crappy apartment across town with a buddy from work. It's small and loud and half the outlets don't work, but it's mine. Sometimes I still wake up and forget where I am. Forget that home isn't the place I grew up anymore. It's a weird kind of grieving. Not for a person. For a version of my life that doesn't exist anymore. For the mom who used to hum while she cooked dinner. For the woman who used to make sure my birthday cake was the exact flavor I liked, even when she was exhausted. For the lie I didn't know I was living in. I ran into her once, a few weeks ago. At a coffee shop across town. She was sitting at a table by the window, typing something on her laptop, hair pulled back, looking small and tired in a way I didn't recognize. She looked up. Saw me. Her face lit up like she forgot everything that had happened. Like I was still her little boy running home from school with scraped knees and wild stories. I didn't go in. I just turned around and walked back to my car. Sat there for a long time, gripping the steering wheel, trying to steady my breathing. I didn't cry. Didn't rage. Just sat there, feeling the empty space where something used to be. And then I drove away. Didn't look back.